Hello, my name is Jay and I've always been a creative person. I've always liked making stuff, whether it's from cardboard, Lego, wood, paint, to making films. Is it? Well, I always like it. I've always liked it because it allowed me to express myself and just something I'm really proud of. And which is why I've made this short little film to give you a bit of insight into my life's work. It all started when I was a kid, when I used to create this model. I used to make this cardboard model to wear as a Halloween costume because I always found it more interesting to wear that than any other costume in the store. And then over the years, I then decided to turn it into an actual model because it got too big to wear in it, really. And so the most interesting thing about making this model was the fact that over the years, despite everything I put on, took off, all the redesigns, that it still had a resemblance to its original self, its first identity, which is something I'm proud of to have kept. While I was building up this model, I made a second one for it, a brother, if you like, really, which had similar design process where it had numerous changes from its original look, but this still resembled some elements of its first look. And apart from these two models, I also made two pets really for them, really. A little bit of a family. But these were made out of Christmas crackers, which I discovered has a really interesting shape. And then when put together, they will form a sort of like creature form, which is something I've always found really interesting to make. Apart from making stuff out of cardboard as a kid, I made I always to make Lego models, which I just love completely because with it I would take all the play sets I would ever get and just mash all the pieces together and create whatever I could think of. And because of it, I was able to make some of the most interesting designs ever, which is also a good thing. When I started doing my GCSE art, I was able to create these interesting. It was my first real test into doing art, and because of it, it's why a lot of my earlier stuff looks like it does, because I was still experimenting, still trying to find my own style. So what I would originally do is I would take an image and try to draw it, and just draw it onto the canvas, and try to, while still trying to give a bit of my own spin onto it, change it up. But one thing I ran into while making a lot of or just in general making my artwork, was that it was considered quite controversial due to the fact I would draw pieces that had different, more of a darker tone and darker style compared to everyone else. Because a lot of stuff I was doing paintings on were based on World War II, and based on Nazism, which ran into some problems when it came to presenting at the final showing, where some of my pieces were taken down at the request of the head teacher because of his Jewish heritage, which I understand, but I find a bit offensive that no one actually asked me, that they just took the pieces down without considering how I felt about it or the actual meaning of the piece, as I was never promoting Nazism. I was always commenting on it and its place in the wars that have come. But it wasn't just in art I was creating stuff. In my resistance materials, I designed a garden pot holder, which was considered the most impractical design ever put forward. And a lot of people thought, to be fair, a lot of people did think it was the most stupidest idea ever, and that it would never be made. But I stuck to my guns, and I put the hours in after school and lunch to make it, and it's something I'm truly proud of, because I was able to prove all those naysayers wrong. When it came to my A-level artwork, I started pushing boundaries more of experimenting, mixing materials, using stuff like chalk and oil and ink in the same pieces, trying to push the boundaries of what I've made, but still keeping in my themes of destruction and war, because I wanted to tell a different messages I wanted to tell, and sort of allow them to express how I felt. But when it came to my final year of art, it was where I believe my best pieces were made, because I was able to find my true style and be able to put everything I've learned into practice by making models and paintings that have a strong resemblance to what I believe in and have something I'm truly proud of to have made. When it came to doing my college work, I tried to move away from doing paintings because I wanted to experiment with different materials. So we created this massive shelter, which included a lot of my themes and ideas of destruction and a shelter for people to hide in. And moving away from that, I started to do more physical work by by cutting up t-shirts, burning around, trying to represent destruction of bodies. And then after that, I was trying to experiment with different stuff, and materials, I created a little short film starring myself about a soldier trying to deal with life after the war. It was because I was doing a lot of, I did this film and really enjoyed it, and I liked films in general. I ended up doing a course at Met Film School. And my time at film school I enjoyed a lot because I worked on a lot of different shorts. I made quite a few. I worked on numerous roles, from camera to sound to producing. But the two films I'm most proud of are the ones I had most creative control in. The first one was a documentary about art, which I had a lot of control of. As a lot of artwork was used in it, and because of it, it was about commenting on arts in today's society, and in the end of it, it turned out very interesting. And the second film is my grad film, a crime thriller about two robbers trying to deal with the aftermath of a failed robbery, and I enjoyed quite a lot because I wrote and directed it, and it was just a blast putting it together. And that's more or less my life's work up to this point. I really don't know what I'm going to do next. I know I have a few ideas. I want to make some 3D models. I may one day make another short film. But one of the things I am going to do at some point is to work into my earlier paintings, because I want to give them the look I always wanted for them. But until then, this video will have to do, so thank you for watching. Bye.